You make my heart rejoice when I hear your still small voice whisper teaching and promises, everlasting covenants to seal upon my heart.
Now start over, Mom.
I'm not going to start over. I'm too tired to start over. I got too much to do to start over. So I know a lot of times when we think about being busy, at least I do, maybe because of how I grew up, I always think of the whole Mary and Martha story, and just how, so often I think that we, um, I don't know, look down upon Martha or think that, she should have just gotten a grip and just sat down. But then I also think about the Proverbs when it talks about the ant, and how industrious the ant is because they work, works, which I think that, especially in the Jewish culture and for Martha, she was thinking, we're supposed to be working. This is what we're supposed to do. So I think that there's a fine line there that we need to remember, so that we don't get overly caught up and lose track of or lose sight of where our focus should be.
I have so much to say about Mary and Martha. I actually shared it at the last church that I went to, when I was a part of that church for a while. But I always think that people like villainize Martha, like she was in the wrong and she was bad. And I just don't read the story that way. Like, I think that there's a time to be a Mary and there's a time to be a Martha. There's seasons in our lives. Will you get me my dough cutter? That's in that door. There's seasons in our lives where we're supposed to be, at the feet of Jesus and being intercessors for our family or whatever. But there's also a season when we're supposed to be working. Like, I think of the Proverbs 31 woman, like she was working and she was busy and she was making things and selling things and always finding new ways to provide for her family and to contribute to her family. And not that Mary's bad either, but there's a season or maybe even a time like of the day, where you're a Mary and a time of day where you're a Martha, and it's okay to be both. And I've always been bothered by how people say, oh, like Martha was just too busy and why wasn't she more like Mary? Like that. I don't think that's the purpose of the message. I think the purpose of that story is to say that yes, Mary was at the feet of Jesus and that was good and that's what Jesus wanted in that moment, but nothing would have been done without Martha either. They wouldn't have eaten, they wouldn't have had a place to stay, they wouldn't have had all of these things if it wasn't for Martha. Can you give me a second? I'm talking. And I think that's important to remember, that it might not be your season right now to be Martha, but it might be somebody else's, and it's not wrong that they have a different calling in this season. As I'm baking challah and making latkes on a Thursday.
I think it depends on the force behind it. Like, I think of that scripture that says, be anxious for nothing. So if you're anxious and so you're running around and you're trying to get stuff done for this or that or the other, then that isn't necessarily right. Or if you're trying to impress somebody, or if or something like that. So I think that the motive behind it is important also, and how our hearts are is important.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, Seth, what was really important about what you said, like what really jumped out at me, is that was what Jesus wanted in the moment. Like, I think it's about like being where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. Like, there's a time for everything, right? Everything has a season. And I think it's important to not get caught up in your work and miss what the Lord is doing, or to be so lazy that you are not involved in the work that God is doing. Like, it goes both ways. So yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Like, I don't think that it's just she's the villain in that story. So
kind of looked at it like it was her heart, like you were saying, Cristina, that the motive behind it. And I personally like to help and do that type of thing at events. You know, I really enjoy serving others in that way. And so I think if you do enjoy doing that, but there's someone else sitting at Messiah's feet or listening to the sermon or whatever, it's my heart to do what I'm doing and not look at them and going, well, why aren't they working? Why aren't they helping? You know, so if for me, that's my heart. My heart is to serve and to do that. And sometimes I've found that in events or just even for like ONEG or different stuff like that, I can still hear, I can still kind of participate. So to me, it was like a heart issue, like you said, motive.
But I also wonder how much of it was that's where she got her accolades from. And the reason I'm thinking that, something that you said sparked in me is we know a family. I have never met a family that is more servant minded than this family. And recently, well, a little bit over a year ago, something happened to where everything that they had poured into serving into this one ministry was basically taken out from underneath their feet. And we were praying for them. And I really felt like the Lord was telling me, this is your Sabbath year. Like, this is the time that you're supposed to just rest and just let God do it and stop serving, basically. Stop doing that. Stop working, stop striving. And it was a very, very difficult transition because their entire lives were wrapped up in serving, you know? And they were able to finally lay that down. And as soon as they did, promotion came in and they were able to move into other things. But I just think I think that we have to be so careful to listen to the Lord and just be like, we talk about it all the time of, is this the path we're supposed to take? Is this what we're supposed to do? Are we, are we doing what the Lord wants us to do in this time? So I know our family, Alan, me, and our immediate kids, we've always done that since they were tiny. We've kind of taught them to always kind of look at that and think like, am I in the perfect will of the Lord right now? So it's a hard thing. It's a hard balance to where are you getting your praise from or your accolades from, and then where are you getting your feeling good about yourself. And I think that was a big part of Martha too, was like, she was like, well, look at Lord, I'm giving you all this stuff, and she needs to get up and help me. So I can understand both viewpoints on Mary and Martha. Xaundelle, you look like you're pondering.
I'm just listening. Probably my schedule is so crazy. I don't even know. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely a busybody. It is hard for me to rest. And like, even if I have a down day, it's like, oh, laundry, like mom life. So working mom, running a ministry, it's just like insane. But I don't know. This is like this year for us, like as a ministry at Lovely, we're expanding and like really learning to delegate. And I feel like this is like a huge growth for me, is like letting some things go and being okay to not be at everything. It's like you like literally humanly possible. Like you literally cannot be at everything,
Mm-hmm.
So right now what that is doing is making a lot of extra work for me to figure out some processes for the different things. So Lovely is usually just like one outreach. Now we're going to be like 5 outreaches a month. And obviously if I can't be at all of them, what does that mean? How do we, delegate things and create a process? So the front end looks like I'm going to be a little busier, but hopefully it'll smooth out so that like we could do more traveling possibly and stuff like that. And so in the middle of it all, it's like, when do I have time to have that connection? Like mom's talking about, like making the time to stay in the spirit. And so we have like prayer calls and we have this stuff, but it's still not like my closet time. So it's been really hard, just like you said, mom, like putting worship on while I'm going from here and there. Ellie's been having a lot of hard times with just like I think all the busyness. And so that's always my go-to, like putting on the Peace album or something like we need to get this under control. But I've been really just like stuck in a lot of the Psalms right now, like just trying to just trying to like give thanks back to the Lord when I am slowing down, like giving thanks back to him because there's just so much on the list to get to, you know. And I don't know like if everyone on the call like feels like they're in those seasons or if it's just me and Saphraine and Elysa. I'm just like busy moms, you know.
I'm a busy grandma, not a busy
Yeah.
mom. Well, I am still a mom, but I'm not as busy with my kids anymore, but still super busy. So I guess I just want to encourage everybody just to, if you are in that busy season, and I mean, it's weird to talk about because I remember when we were going to, was it Burbank Vineyard? I think it was Burbank Vineyard. That was Lenny's church, and it was really wrapped up in Christmas and Easter and stuff. But anyway, it was always funny because it was around Christmas that everybody was like, "Oh, we're so busy, you know, we're so wrapped up in being busy, and we need to, the reason for the season and all that." It was just so weird to me, and I just heard words come out of my mouth that reminded me of that, so I had to bring it up. But I think that throughout, yes, there's ebbs and flows throughout the year, and especially if you're in a job, you know, you've got different seasons that are busier than others. People that are accountants, they're usually busy around tax season. But I'm pretty sure that everybody here would still put aside Sabbath. And I think that was the saving grace for me. I mean, Alan and I would go on drives, or I would sleep in, and just have a day of literally doing nothing. I didn't do laundry. I would save that for Sunday, throw it in on Sunday. But I mean, that was the saving grace for me, is to really be like, I'm setting this time aside. And my job has gotten used to it, to the point where somebody called in sick and needed a substitute, and before we had even got started, everybody said, if it's Saturday, don't call Cristina. Call anybody else on the list, but don't call Cristina. And I'm like, well, you can, but I'll say no. So Sabbath is very, very important. So to set those parameters and set those boundaries. Does anybody else have anything besides us?
Right. I have noisy kids, but I was going to say, I think that is a really, Aton, quiet. I think that is a really key way to kind of keep yourself in check. Like, if you're looking for ways to make sure that you are not getting too wrapped up in it or whatever, you have that standing check-in point with the Lord, like even beyond just getting to take a break, like it gives you that chance to refocus and be like, all right, am I still doing what I'm supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think with Hank and I too, we are always checking before we do anything, you know, do we have margin to add this in? You know, should we be doing it? And if we should, we'll find room. Something else has got to leave. Also just, you know, it was hard when I had little one. I mean, I have a 7-year-old, but just to get up early, you know, I have to have an hour or so alone before my homeschool day starts and before my work life starts. And then at night taking, you know, an hour making the kids go to bed. I mean, I have teenagers now, so they don't want to go to bed, but, you know, go in your room, give me an hour in the evening and in the morning's really important. And Hank and I we have date night every week, where we can just, you know, share, because I mean, we work together, but you know, our lives are so crazy. We hardly have time to communicate most of the time. So that's been just really a lifesaver, along with, of course, Shabbat and that priority.
I was just thinking about, you know, kind of those rhythms that we get into, and we went on vacation to visit my parents who are snowbirding in Florida. And normally I'll get up and, have quiet time, that sort of thing. And there I felt like I needed to, well, we all slept in, and if you got up early, it kind of woke everybody up because of the smallness of their house. And so we all slept in, which is great. But then I felt like I needed to get up and help make breakfast and just, so I would just get right into my day. And my goodness, by the time we came home, I told my husband I was just so spiritually dry. Yes, we observed Sabbath to the best of our ability because my family is not, they're Sunday and they think we're weird. So, but oh my goodness, like in a period of 12 days, it affected me so much that even though I was on vacation, it was awful. I'm like, okay, I've got to get back to the basics, and next year we cannot deviate, So just a very recent observation on my part about this.
Vacations, you need a vacation to recuperate from a vacation.
Yes.
I always try to schedule my vacation so I come home 2 days or so before I have to go back to work because it's just too much.
I didn't do that either. So yeah.
We might have a short little night. This is our ladies group. Everybody can bring something to share, or Saphraine has something to share.
I'm just gonna share how busy I am.
Okay.
Homeschooling my 2 oldest kids right now. And I'm in school, and then they have like a million after school activities. And I just felt like I was drowning. I would wake up and just go until like 9 o'clock at night. I just like wasn't stopping. And it's just been like so difficult. And then I was like, hey, you know what will be fun? It's if I start waking up at 5 in the morning and going to the gym, because why not? And I was like, this is crazy that I'm going to do this. But I really felt like I needed to do something like for myself. And I started doing that last week, and I didn't go, stop scooting closer to me. I'm scooting over to make room for the baby's head. So I started doing it last week, and I didn't go every day. I went 3 times last week.
Oh,
And
what
I was to go 3 or 4 times a week. But I did it, and I was so surprised how much I like enjoyed it. I don't enjoy the gym part necessarily. I don't really care about working out that much. But it was just like waking up and having that time to myself and knowing that I'm like doing something for myself, separate from the kids, separate from my husband, and then like coming home and having time. Like I've never had time to really have a quiet time and just like be in the word or praying or listening to worship while I'm in the shower. Like it just has felt so surprisingly nice to just like have 2 hours to myself before I wake up the kids and before I have to get everything done for the day. And it's exhausting. And every night at like 9 o'clock, I'm like passing out. And Joseph's like, wait, let's spend time. Let's watch a show. Let's talk. And I'm like, falling asleep. But it's been worth it. And so if you don't have the time, make the time. And I don't feel like I have the time. And I think even the time that I'm making, I'm compromising something else, right? Like I'm compromising my sleep, which I love to do it, but I've felt like so good doing it. So that's an encouragement for all of you that might not have the time, make the time.
I agree. I know with the job I left, I was going day and night. I would work my day job, but I was also getting called out at night. So I was probably getting maybe 2 hours, 3 hours top sleep every day. So it's like running back and forth, to where I am a nail tech as well, hair and everything. For me, I take care of myself like that, where I cut my own hair, do my own nails, do my own toes, right? I got to the point where I was so busy because of the hours I was putting in I stopped pretty much pampering myself. I did it all myself. I never went and paid for it. I did it myself. But when you get to that point of constantly going and going and going, it not only wears your body out, it also wears your mind out as well. You start getting to that point of getting a little bit angry with everybody around you, not realizing you're doing it, but it takes a toll on you. And now that I am not at work anymore, which I'm missing my job, but just my job, not everything else along with it, just what I did. But today I put my truck in the shop and they gave me a loaner. I have never gone to a park during the day, working hours, and just park and watch the ducks, talk to God. I literally was having a conversation with God while I was driving in the park. I went to several different parks, I've never experienced that before. And it was like, I almost wanted to cry because I've missed out. I've been working since 16. I've never had a chance to do something like that, And so it's like, you have to, just like Saphraine said, you have to make the time to do it for yourself. Because if you don't do for yourself, how are you going to help others? How are you going to present a well-stabled personality, mind, to someone else to help them when they're in need? I hope that makes some comprehension. I mean, that's just what I'm getting out of listening to everybody and what I experienced today. And it was just overwhelming. I've never experienced that before, to actually go and just during working hours, I've never done that before. And it was a blessing to me because I was actually able to hear the water. Like I saw a waterfall. Well, it's not a waterfall, but it was like a little river part. And I was able to watch that, just sit there and watch. And it's like leaves going through the water. I mean, everything. I was intaking everything, the wind, everything, and just talking with God. And I've never had that experience before. So I'm just trying to just do for me, We have to. We all have to, Busy lives cannot run our lives. We have to make the time,
Well, and actually, that kind of ties in with what I was thinking earlier in the week. Cristina, I was wondering, I know you do have a very full life, and everyone here does. And I'm hoping that by adding this every month, and then the prophetic every month, and they're kind of back to back, if that, in the past, when I've just continued to add, then I began to like resent, oh my gosh, this is every month. And then every month,
That's why I only do it once a month.
Well, I know, but I mean, I just was like, okay, so, like if there's ever a time when, hey, you just need your own time, I think all of us would agree that like we've all been overworked, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It just occurred to me this week, and I just felt like I just wanted to mention it. So
yeah, it was hard, the prophetic points, because it was on a Saturday and I was like, no.
right.
So that was kind of hard, but also, it was because it was January, it was super easy because everybody had already kind of laid it all out for the 2024. So it was easy to collect. So it wasn't a lot of research for me. So I think also, I don't know if it happens for you guys, but for me, when I hear the word of the Lord, or if the Holy Spirit is speaking, it rejuvenates me, and it gives me energy, and it gives me just a purpose, that we all need. And so I think that the prophetic points especially is a lot of fun, just hearing all of that. And I think one of the reasons why we started it was because we are getting words, and then we're hearing from these national prophets that are confirming. And so we just thought, we should probably start sharing these. And so that's kind of why we started sharing it. And it's always so encouraging because we get so much confirmation from it.
It was so good.
Yeah. You said
I
that,
like,
Sean.
I was actually gonna say if anyone had any feedback from Saturday, if they were there or not. But like, I just think it was so good because it's almost like lining them all up. You know, you hear them throughout the month, and so you might like see a trend or something. But like but the way you guys laid it out, it was like the trends kind of together, and I really it was really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was super encouraging. And also super warning, you know, like, hey, take heed, take heed, take heed. So
Cynthia on Facebook says she so appreciates the prophetic points, but getting the gals together is the best.
I would like to share something.
okay.
Need a follow really quick.
Hey girl.
Where's Alan's Jeopardy music?
Okay, it's so every single day of homeschooling, we've been reading parts of the Bible. I'm in Proverbs, and I wrote this down. It is, how long will you who are simple love your simple ways? How long will mockers delight in mockery and fools hate knowledge? Repent at my rebuke. When I will pour out my thoughts to you, I will make known to my teachings. But since you refuse to listen when I call, and no one pays attention when I stretch out my hand, since you disregard all my advice and do not accept my rebuke, I in return will laugh, and when disaster strikes you, I will mock when calamity overtakes you. When calamity overtakes you like a storm, when disaster sweeps over you like a whirlwind, when distress and trouble overwhelm you. Then they will call to me, but I will not answer. They will look for me, but will not find me, since they hated knowledge and did not choose to fear the Lord.
So
How do you think these are topic, maybe?
I said,
Huh?
I said,
so how does that speak to you, babe?
it's just
Are you unmuted?
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, she is.
like it's I I don't know. It's just something that I liked and something that I thought was important. And it was a Proverbs that I really liked and wanted to write it down.
What Proverbs was it?
It is the first Proverbs 1, the first Proverbs.
Sounds like God means business, huh? Do you feel like it's just like a serious warning for people to listen to what he has to say?
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. That's one of Saba's favorites.
Okay.
Putting down the Saba hammer.
Smackdown.
Saba Smackdown. Wait, he's not supposed to be on here.
He's not. He's not supposed to be. I could boot him out.
I'm running the show behind the scenes, man.
You were not.
Yeah, I just had a couple other things that came to mind too, especially with kids. I've just never allowed my kids to do more than one activity each because I just wasn't going to run myself ragged, for them, just so that I wouldn't have that time to spend with God. So we've kind of just always done that as a family. Also, if there's something in your life you can farm out, like house cleaning, something, I think it's well worth the investment to pay someone else to do that so that you can have some margin in your day.
Yes.
you know, so don't be afraid to do that.
Mary Kay Ash was a big proponent of that.
Forever, mom will be sharing wisdom. Mary Kay.
I will. I learned a lot at Mary Kay. In fact, I was going to say earlier something about Mary Kay, but I refrained. But she had something called the 5 o'clock club, and she believed very strongly that everybody should get up at 5 a.m. and start their day at 5 a.m. So when Saphraine was saying that, I was like, ooh, Mary Kay Ash said. But I refrained.
Not my jam.
Mine either.
But Christy, my husband did just make me get a bi-weekly maid for a house cleaner. So, it's been good for us. She comes tomorrow, praise the Lord.
I grew up with live-in maids. It was very nice.
I wish I could have one of those. Saphraine.
What'd she say?
She's thumbs up.
Sounds great for all you guys.
What was that?
Sounds great for all of you guys.
Yeah, it is great. I waited a long time to get one.
I'm making 60 latkes and 2 very large loaves of challah for a Mormon book club.
Are they reading like a Jewish book?
They're reading Midwife of Auschwitz
Wait, where's the book club?
at some lady's house in Lehigh.
Oh, I
don't
thought
know.
you said Morgan. I was like, you have to drive it to Morgan?
No, in Lehigh. But she said they're reading this book and they wanted traditional Jewish food. And I said, well, I can make some for you. You got to pay me. So decided to add that to my plate today. Go ahead, Tikva.
She gave me a little bit of the dough, and I made a very small challah. I braided it myself.
Nice. Are you making them pay for it?
Hi, Ellie. Well, if we're winding down, we can. I'm fine with winding down a little bit early. I would say if anybody has anything you guys want to talk about or pray about, you can bring it to the next one, or even email. What's the email again?
Isn't it Saphraine?
You can
No.
email me. We do have a
No, Mighty Women.
At Chameleon Church, right?
Will you say that again, Elysa?
I think it's mightywomen@chameleonchurch.com.
Okay, so
It
you
still
can.
comes to me.
Yeah,
I know it goes to you, but it goes to both you and Elysa.
Yeah.
So if anybody has anything that they want to talk about or that they're really kind of walking through, then we'd love to pray for you even during the month. It doesn't have to just be once a month. You can send stuff like that to that email. But also if there's a particular topic or something that we got one once, it was about praying for our children, and that's what we talked about last time. So I would just encourage you, this is your guys's group. Yes, Seth.
I've had a question about disciplining children, but we know not everybody in here has small children, so we didn't want to just take over about kids when there might only be 3 or 4 of us with small kids. So if you want more kid stuff, or if you just want more biblical, or how do we do this, or what do you guys think about that, then that can encompass everybody.
Purim is in March, so I didn't know if we wanted to do a Purim chat. I didn't know. I know like some people wanted to know how we do the feast, right? Wasn't that a big?
Oh, yeah, so we should touch on that then, because
So the kids and I are doing a huge party.
is Purim before or after our next one?
After it's March 23rd
Okay,
through the whatever,
Message
20.
from us.
okay, so we can talk about Purim next time and just how each of us celebrate it, because I'm sure we all celebrate it differently.
From Christy from last month. I've had other women who watch and ask about how to operate walk in gifts. They're interested in that.
So Alan's reading a message from last time. I don't know where you even saw that.
So the message-
Yours not supposed to be on our messages.
Well,
No, no, in the comments of
but we would have missed it.
the Zoom call.
I don't see it.
We talked about it. We talked about, is he talking about the gifts?
Yeah.
We talked about it last time, but we can talk about it again.
Yeah, Alan, we've already addressed it. Stay out of our ladies group. Gosh.
How many times do you get to talk a week? JK.
Hey, I'm gonna boot you out of here, mister. So I think we already mentioned that, or we've already addressed that. So unless we need to again, but I don't know if we do.
We also have the chat group on band. Sorry if you said this while I was dealing with my baby throwing a fit. But that's got 40 something people in it. So we can do other smaller discussions there throughout the month as well.
Mhm. Yeah, we should probably put the recordings of these in there too. Because not everybody can make it at this
Yeah, I
time.
think I sent the link last month. Yeah, I sent the link last month.
Is band is that for everybody?
Yes,
okay,
but there's
then.
different groups in band.
Yeah, and if you need a link to join, there's not like a public link, so they would just have to like email one of us and we could add them so that they could sign up. Like
I
I
have
don't.
2 friends that joined today, so I'll just.
How much longer am I
We
trying?
also rebroadcast on.
I think you tell me if you can't figure out how to invite, because then I can send you links. So I think
We
you.
all- Alan also wants me to make sure that everybody understands that we rebroadcast on YouTube. But we'll also put the link in band, because the link, I feel like in the women's group and band, we can kind of foster that a little bit more and just kind of put this in, just let people know that they're just as much a part of it. You know, we're all a part of that Chameleon Church. Yes, Tikva?
I do struggle getting on band throughout the week because I'm just busy with other things. Not that everybody wants to talk to me, but if you want to talk to me, I do check my email more than I check it.
So this
I do
is
too.
the Saphraine show.
Same.
Monday's the Alan show. This is the Saphraine show.
I definitely check email more than band too. A band is just, it's just hard for me to get another
I just feel overwhelmed when I'm
social
good
media thing.
at like
What?
30,000 notifications. It's really overwhelming. Then I just exit.
I feel like I kind of like catch up on a whole bunch in band at once. Like I'm not checking constantly. It's like, oh, I should probably look at this today and go through a week worth of whatever.
Same.
Again, Alan would like for me to share.
Thank goodness.
We created band because there was all kinds of noise about censorship on Facebook and YouTube. So we created a band group for a place for us all to go to if
No, 'cause
we get
tried out, like,
booted off. What, Sean?
I said I know because we had to try like 5 different groups before.
I think it was Telegram, band.
There was another one.
Bumble?
There's at least 3.
Rumble. We've used Rumble, but that's not like an interaction.
No, there was an. Oh, that's right. There was one that like popped up and it was a direct competitor to Facebook.
Parler?
MeWe, right? Or
Yes,
WeMe?
Yes,
MeWe?
yes, yes.
Yeah.
I was like, there was one. Yes,
Yep.
maybe.
I think I still have a profile on there. So.
Jane says this is not the Alan Aguirre show.
Oh, I won't be here
Tell
next
him.
month.
You tell him, Jane.
Why? What do you need? How do you think that we need help running
I
it?
won't be here next month.
No, it's like, seriously, what are you doing over there that we're not doing?
You know what you're doing? I won't ever be here again, I promise.
You said that last time and the time before.
You know, I'm gonna push a button and all of your,
Mhm.
Okay, bye. Everyone, get on FaceTime. Kidding.
Oh.
Oh, he left.
Alexa, stop.
Pasta, pasta.
Oh my gosh. He loves it though. He's glad he's doing it.
Oh my gosh.
Does anyone have any prayer requests?
Well, I have something and I can't remember if I shared it with this group, with the ladies. That we had a neighbor across the street, a single guy who said some really awful things to me on, I think it was Halloween Eve. I don't know if you guys remember me sharing that or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and so and my husband drove him to jail a couple of weeks back. And we've lived in this house here for almost 30 years. And so he hasn't been here the whole time. His elderly mom, she's like 98, I think. So he was living there to help his mom. And over time here where we've lived, my daughter Sarah, she does have a disability. So we've never really felt like we couldn't leave her here at home for like a couple hours by herself. She was okay. I've always had big dogs on the property. I had a German Shepherd and a Doberman Pinscher at the same time, just for, presentation. But I think it was maybe a month to 2 months before that Halloween episode happened. I just didn't feel right about leaving Sarah here by herself for some reason. I told my husband, I said, I just don't feel right. Sarah can't be here by herself anymore. So then my neighbor does that. We found out what his record was, and he actually his own daughter. And then we found out some things yesterday that his mom said, the elder lady said, he's not welcome back. So I think
Wow.
it's like an answer to prayer because of the things that he had said. And we found out he truly was like a wolf in sheep's clothing. He was good at hiding it. He was good at being real neighborly and everything, but his interest in younger gals and just stuff. And so I think I had realized it yesterday that he was removed. He was removed from my neighborhood, which had been a great place. The girls could go up and down the streets. We could play. We just had people always looked out for them. And then this, I didn't even feel like I could go out and wash my windows because he made comments about watching me wash my front windows. Yeah, it was kind of creepy. And so it's just I just want to thank the Father for just removing him. And I don't even know if I even prayed that, but he's gone. I mean, he was way worse than what we knew. And so I just felt that was a blessing and I
Yeah.
wanted to do that.
Great. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
God just works like that.
What?
God just works like that.
He sure does.
Sometimes.
Yes, he does.
Well, this is kind of a short month. Short months are interesting for me, but anyway, my job is just crazy right now. But Sundance has not renewed their contract with us, so maybe it won't be so crazy next year. So that'll be fine. So let me go ahead, and if nobody has anything else, we'll go ahead and pray. I'll bless all of you guys. We'll have an amazing month, and then we'll see you next month, and we'll talk about Purim. Maybe we can bring pictures of costumes that we might have had in the past.
Come dressed up.
Yeah. Try out your costume for Purim. We had this one Purim party here. It might have been our first year here. The Saphraine was Frida Kahlo. I was Mary Poppins. Alan was Bert. Can't remember, was Sarah Jane Raggedy Ann maybe? Anyway, we have some fun pictures from that year.
I think one of my best costumes was when I was Carmen Sandiego.
I remember
That one was epic. I have
Joy-
pictures. I'll take pictures next
Punisher
time.
that one time.
Yeah. And then one time I was Morticia from Addams Family. And one time I was Tiger Lily from Peter Pan. Tikva would like to be Jasmine this year.
I don't know if you can see that.
I think everybody knows who Jasmine is.
I know.
Ellie loves Jasmine. You gonna be Jasmine for Purim?
Because I love Aladdin.
All right. So Lord, we just thank you for this time, and we just thank you for just knitting us together. I just pray that you will just continue to bring our hearts together, bring our different personalities together, just to encourage, to be there for one another, to be a person to each other that we can really depend upon, because we all need that, and we all are hungry for that. I pray blessing upon each and every person that was able to join us, either via Zoom or Facebook. I also pray blessing for those that see this after it's recorded. And I just keep, I don't know what it is, but I just keep feeling like there's somebody, and I don't know if it's in this group or if it's somebody that's going to watch it another time, that just feels kind of like they're at the bottom of a well. And I don't know if that's something that you've actually even said, that I feel like I'm drowning. I'm in the bottom of a well. I can't see any way out. And so for that person, just reach out to that email, mightywomen@Chameleon Church, so we can pray more personally for you. But I just want anybody who feels that way to know that you're not alone, and that God is a mighty, mighty, mighty deliverer, and he can be your strong tower and give you rest. So I just pray that you give us all rest, that you rejuvenate us, that you meet with us as we reach out to you. And I just pray that we have an amazing February, that there's blessing upon blessing for all of us. In Yeshua's name, amen.
You make my heart rejoice when I hear your still small voice, whisper teaching and promises, everlasting covenants to seal upon my heart.
The views and opinions expressed during our broadcasts are solely those of the broadcast producers, hosts, and/or guests, etc., and are not necessarily the views or opinions of the Travelog Network, its sponsors, or affiliates.